I will eventually. I'll do that while I'm uploading.
Let's make sure we went live to the right channel. Yep. We are live on the internet.
All right. Have you put it out on?
No, I will do the sharing now.
Okay.
Oops. I shared it to Geek Grills. That's okay. No. Got the wrong Twitter password for Heresy and Hearsay saved. What is it?
I don't. I think it's SEP. I think it's your SEPT 96. I'm sorry, 9668. Wait, for what? Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. It's the same one. It should be.
Nope. I can't get to our Twitter.
I've got it.
All right.
I'm working on posting on Hearsay on our Facebook. Get here.
Yeah, because I've got... I can do my Facebook, but I can't do ours because I'm not an administrator, I don't think.
I thought I made you administrator. I'll have to look into that and fix that. I'll fix it eventually.
Let me see.
As soon as I figure out how to do it. All right, and then Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't come under pages I manage.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Okay, log in, and then. Oh, that's long. Okay.
So how much of anything in the notes are we going to stick with?
Probably right now, the only one that I can think of is I put in 2 sticks because I was looking for another carrot. We're going to cover both those sticks, and then I'm pulling up a couple of others.
Well, we had the carrot on Facebook.
Yeah, and I posted that in the carrot section. Yeah. And we can talk about that one too. And then I posted 2 sticks. I can
think of another carrot.
Okay, good. What is that?
Let me Google it. Christine Hallquist.
Okay, I don't know that one.
A transgender woman won Vermont's governor's primary yesterday.
Oh, yes. Please post that. Especially considering I have a thing about a trans girl in Oklahoma, so that works out well. And I have a doggy in here now.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right. So, let me pull up that note there, and let me pull this up. Welcome to Heresy and Hearsay, a podcast reclaiming the faith in a context of political discussion. Today, we're going to be doing a news dump situation. We did have a guest, but unfortunately, life sometimes happens. I am Rev.Barney, and you can follow me on Twitter at SEPHIROTHII, or that's Sephiroth II, and my beautiful and intelligent co-host.
Yeah, I'm September, also known as 9 of 12. It's NINEOF12. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch by that moniker. And of course, come watch us.
Yeah, and we also, just so you're aware, we also have a Twitch which is Heresy and Hears One. So that's HERESY. And we also have a Facebook page, and we also have Patreon, which will hopefully help us, do more, expand the channel, and things like that. So, as I said, today we're going to be working on some news that's affecting the world today that we've found, and that's bothering us a great deal, or that makes us happy in some respects. And what I'm going to do is we're going to hit on a couple of things first that is not in our notes that I just wanted to briefly talk about. One is Omarosa. It's Omarosa Newman, and I know she goes by the full name, and unfortunately, Rev.Barney has problems with ends of names. So, but Omarosa has come out with a new book, or it should be out very soon. It's a tell-all book about the time that she spent in the White House. Trump has, of course, lost his mind about it and has called her all sorts of names and things like that. One of the biggest revelations that came out of the book is that Donald Trump was a sexist and a racist. Who knew? Who knew that Donald Trump was a sexist and a racist?
Surprise, surprise.
I know. Who is shocked by this information? I'm just curious. So yeah, that's the biggest revelations. Is like, honestly, at this point, there is so much that he has done right now that would have scuttled any normal person's political careers. That it's just shocking to me. And that he is still what he said is true. He could go on Fifth Avenue. At this point, he could go on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and his supporters would still support him. So that
it would seem that way.
Yeah.
He dominates the media in such a way that, and his core followers don't trust the media, that as long as he keeps saturating it, they're not actually paying attention.
That's true. Other information that's going on this week is Paul Manafort's court case is closing up, and the jurors are going to decide his fate, if he's guilty or innocent or how they see it. What the most interesting revelations is when Gates came out and said basically, yeah, we were selling Secretary of the Army and Secretary of this and that and the other. That
question. Can I?
Being a mom. So, so what I was saying was, so basically, they were trying to sell secretaries to different people, and I'm sure that, that's not going to do anything for Trump either as far as people disliking him.
Yeah.
It's just more of the same stuff, it seems like. So, let's see. Is there anything else that you have been like hit on or seen that just goes, wow, that needs to be talked about?
I have been really busy with my new job, so I haven't been paying a lot of attention to, the national politics, just bits here and there. I turned on the news long enough to make sure the world didn't end before I leave the house.
Yeah. Oh, the world's ending. Well, I guess I don't have to go to work today.
Exactly.
Do you want to talk about what you're doing currently?
I am working as the coordinated campaign manager for the Catawba County Democratic Party. They have 10 candidates. They recruited 10 candidates and raised a bunch of money and gave the state party a bunch of money with the promise of receiving someone basically for this position to run their coordinated campaign. And that didn't happen. So they took it upon themselves. It's getting close to the election, and somebody knew me from my previous work experience with them and coordinated campaigns and the million other jobs I've had, volunteer and paid in the party and outside the party. And so I took this job. I thought I was going to be coordinating an effort they already had going. And yesterday I went to a meeting. It was like the third time I've met with them, and somehow it just became clear that no, the party hadn't started doing any canvassing or calls. The candidates were told the party will take care of the base. You can go straight to unaffiliated and persuadable. So, I made their volunteer coordinator for the party aware that she's going to get some resume fodder because I'm going to turn her into a full-blown field organizer because I'm only working about 20 hours a week and I can't do a whole field operation and managing and coordinating the efforts with the other campaigns when we get to canvassing and take everyone's materials out. It's just not, it's not a one-person job. It is an entire staff's job. So I'm rethinking what has to be done, and I have to ramp up getting these efforts underway immediately. So I spent last night and today number crunching, and then I'll be trying to schedule stuff. Fortunately, because of me knowing what all these things take, the last week that I did work wasn't wasted effort. I mean, I contacted by email over 50 barber and beauty shops in Catawba because they're going to need to be reached out to for registration drives. I contacted all the auxiliary organizations and colleges in the area about doing stuff there. So it's not wasted effort. I still have the information I need to begin these actual pushes.
And one of the things I would like us to do as the elections start to get a little closer is start looking at and start announcing, all right, today's the last, giving a weekly update for a while, starting in September. A weekly update of saying, hey, this day is going to be the last day that you can register in these states and stuff like that, so that we can give everybody an update and try to get as many people out there to vote, because that, if we get overwhelmed, no matter what Russia does, it doesn't matter what the gerrymandering does, it doesn't matter what, voter suppression does, because...
Well, yeah, no. I mean, it's going to take a lot of research to get all the states, but we can create that to give those heads up. But gerrymandering still does matter. If they've drawn in the district so there just aren't enough Democrats to win, you can get all of them out and it won't matter. That's why the courts were able to strike down the lines here.
Have we drawn, speaking of North Carolina, this is where we're both at right now. I'm sorry, and I'm fiddling with stuff with my hands because I'm that kind of person. Have the lines been redrawn yet? Or
yes.
Are they still, okay. All right.
Yes. That's going to be, so there could be several upsets. Hopefully we will take our legislature back. But right now, because the people sitting in office were still elected under those gerrymandering districts, is why we have such ridiculous things coming down the pipe. They just passed a bunch of constitutional amendments in order to try and rig some judicial elections here. First, they eliminated the primary in some judicials. Then, specifically to work against the judicial candidate who has worked in civil rights law against them for a long time, they kept changing the rules about when you have to be registered by a certain party, because they made judicial races partisan, so your party now shows on the ballot. Mm-hmm. And then they changed the law so it wouldn't show unless you were registered with that party at a certain time. And then if you change your registration, you end up with nothing next to your name for party. They changed the law so that her name would be last on the ballot. Like, they're really particularly targeting this one judicial candidate. But putting in amendments for it and shoving voter ID stuff down our throats is really terrifying and annoying. It's going to come down to the wire. There are enough court cases pending about some of these things being unconstitutional that we're not going to know what is on our ballot until the last minute when these rulings are made.
Right, and that is one of the things that I understand is that there had been some wording, especially about the voter ID, that was worded to basically trick people to vote for it.
Yes.
So
So in North Carolina, if you're any kind of liberal and you want to protect our state constitution, you don't think we need to change it just so they can change the rules mid-election, vote no on all the amendments as they're worded now. They're not going to have time to change the wording again when these rulings come out. The amendments will probably either be there or not be there, but right now they're all a big fat no.
yeah, just vote no on. If you're in the state of North Carolina, vote no. So, but speaking of the Supreme Court and what other other state Supreme Courts are doing, you look at West Virginia and how they impeached the entire Supreme Court, and because there's not enough time for them to do a special election for the Supreme Court, they're basically going to stack the court with appointees from the Republican governor until the election.
Yeah, kind of like, they do here whenever they get a governor. They just appoint a bunch of people, and then we get a Democratic governor, and they disallow all the appointments.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that Democrats have noticed, because this was not everyone, don't get me wrong, but there was talking point is like the Supreme Court is important, or we can do whatever with the Supreme Court and stuff like that, that you should vote for Jill Stein or blah, blah, blah. That kind of voting thing, that the Supreme Court is not that big of a deal. Courts are huge. They're a huge deal. It's because the majority is never going to vote for rights for the minority. And things like gay marriage would not have happened without the court system.
Yeah, people do this like activist judges. That's a misnomer. That's exactly the opposite of how this works. Good justices that aren't being put to some kind of litmus test, they take a different oath than someone who is elected to office by a specific... they're supposed to serve their whole constituency, but they're going to serve their party. They are, going to uphold that platform. That's what they ran on. Judicial candidates don't have a platform. They shouldn't even have party affiliation next to their race, except, that's not all bad, because if you feel like you're going to get more fairness out of one or the other, I guess it gives you some information. But, I'm a person that if I don't know the candidates, I leave that part of my ballot blank, and I feel it's the more responsible thing to do is to educate myself. But justices are our last line of defense, and the oath they take is to be completely fair and impartial and just be a judge. And it's our last line of defense when unfair laws are passed to protect our rights.
Right. And then when you get, and people talk about activist judges and stuff like that, you see more activist judges, okay, that's a misnomer, but you see a lot of, especially in the Supreme Court as of late, and the constitutionalists, like what Justice Roberts are and stuff like that, they tend to things that are very anti-individual or very anti-populist and more business. What is that? United, the court
Citizens United.
Yeah, that's one of those that people are like, they're like, oh, that's perfectly fine. The people that scream activist judges are perfectly okay with corporations basically dumping money after money into elections.
And then that led to the Hobby Lobby case,
right,
where being able to use the determination that a corporation is just like a person, they were allowed to not cover women's health in their health plans, even though by law, women should be treated equally as far as we need health care.
Right.
But it was like, what if they want birth control or an abortion? That's against my beliefs. Well, you got protected as a person, and I will never, ever set foot in a Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. I didn't step foot before, and now I have no reasons to, even if I ever want to try to paint like Bob Ross, which will never happen. But, yeah, happy little trees, yeah, that's not happening. So, there are a couple of good stories that we want to talk about, but let me get two more stories that are just driving me up the wall and then we're going to end on a couple of good stories. And it's going to be a short one today. We're only going to do about 30 minutes. And so the second one the third major one I want to touch on is Stephen Miller. He is currently trying, and I'm trying to pull it up now. Come on, Daniel. You know how to do this. I think. All right, fine. We'll do it that way. If you're just going to be that way, we'll just do it this way. We'll just do a copy and paste. So basically, Stephen Miller is wanting to push policies to make it harder for immigrants to earn citizenships if they've ever had to use any type of benefit package. That includes Obamacare, which, as we know, and this is talking about legal immigrants who are here with the green card or
Like my husband.
Right, like you're right. So here's the thing: if your husband decided that he wanted to become a citizen, ever wanted to become a citizen, if he has Obamacare and he got um, if he got a supplement from Obamacare, the way Stephen Miller wants to push this is basically he would be at the back of the line. He would be pushed back to the back of the line to get immigration and to get citizenship status or immigration status.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically any of if you've received any type of government help whatsoever, that they're wanting to basically penalize legal immigrants, not illegal, legal immigrants from being able to become part of the to join to either keep their green card or renew their green card, or whatever the case may be.
Even after achieving citizenship?
Well, they're talking about doing this. No, not after but before.
Okay.
So if they got a green card or a visa or whatever,
Right.
and
Let me.
Yeah.
The way the law stands now, and here is why I would say this is incredibly unfair, even if these folks have not become citizens yet. Like my husband, for instance, is a permanent resident alien. When you have working status in the United States, formerly known as a green card, you get a social security number, you're paying taxes, your social security, Medicaid, all those things come out of your paycheck. You are not eligible to receive any government benefits. Tax breaks for Obamacare, food stamps, welfare, whatever hits the fan. You are not eligible as a legal immigrant until you have proven 10 years of uninterrupted, full-time, 40-hour-a-week employment. So there are people in this country that for 10 plus years have been paying into those systems, being completely disallowed to receive any benefit from it. And now he wants to take away the people that can, after all that work and time and paying in, not getting a little tax break on their health care.
Well, it's not just that, but he's also talking about as well as Medicaid, the health, the CHIP program, food stamps, and even the earned income tax credit.
Right. Well, you can't get any of those until after 10 years of full-time work anyway.
Right. So, but you can't even, with the earned income tax credit, you can't even get it. If you get that on your taxes, which is an automatic kick-in, it's not something you can reject. I guess you can reject it, but it's something that automatically shows up in your taxes. If you're eligible for it, they at that point say, well, you got that, so no, you can't.
Well, he's probably looking to close a loophole there, because it would be easy enough in that situation if we still qualified for EOC like I used to. I could just claim head of household, and we could have gotten that without him being thrown out of the country.
Right, and so yeah, that's something that they're looking at doing. That they're wanting to close that citizen and immigration loophole, or make it harder for someone who is in that, that may have, they've earned that right in 10 years, they've proven that, all that kind of stuff. And let's say their factory closes and they need just a couple of weeks of help, or a month of help until a new job comes up. Just because of that, they're suddenly going to be put on a list and saying, well, you can't earn citizenship, or you won't be able to get your green card or visa
Probably put
renewed.
you. It sounds like, yeah, putting you back to a temporary status instead of a permanent status. By the way, permanent resident alien isn't permanent. You have to renew it every 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just. Oh, that's just lovely that our country is doing that as well. So, and the last one I want to talk about, because I am the stick person, I am the angry guy. For the Christian, I'm the angry one. Is in Oklahoma, and this broke a couple of days ago. In Oklahoma, basically they down an entire school district. It's a rural school district in Oklahoma. They've shut it down for yesterday and today because there was basically a lot of threats, including death threats, including castration threats on a transgender girl because she went into a girl's bathroom to use the bathroom. And they posted this stuff on Facebook, on the school's Facebook page, and the terms they used, they called her a maggot, and they called her scum, and they called her an it. That was a very common thing, was just calling this young lady it. Okay, over and over and over again. And it was evil. And how do it's a 12-year-old who's trying to transition, who is about to go through hormone changes, who is in rural Oklahoma, which therefore is like 15 shades of screwed anyways. And then you've got these people being so evil to her on top of that. I posted, it made me so angry. I posted it on my personal Facebook page, and I said, Jesus said, suffer the children to me, not make the children suffer. And it's just boggles my imagination that this is going on. It's a child. It's a 12-year-old transgender girl who's just trying to make the life better. Thoughts?
I don't. I just wish people would be better.
I know. It's so speaking of people better, and we're already talking about transgender, you brought this up. So why don't you hit on it for us?
Well, I was really excited last night. Christine Halquist, a transgender woman, has won Vermont governor's primary. So this is like the first major party nominated in a gubernatorial election transgender person.
So on one side we have a transgender woman being elected. Is she a Democrat? Or I wasn't able to pull up the thing. Is she Democrat, Republican,
Yes.
Green?
She's
Okay.
she's a Democrat. She's a former utility executive from Vermont, and yeah.
And now she's running for governor in Vermont. So we go from hate to people being completely and totally accepting, and I think that's great. That there are pockets. Yes, there's going to always be pockets of hate. There's always
Right.
going to be pockets.
I mean,
of,
go Vermont, because
Yeah.
Danica Rome was the first. She was the Virginia state delegate. She won recognition when she became the first transgender person elected to her state's legislature, and they canvassed together, and she was able to help guide Ms. Hallquist to get through this race. And it's an interesting little article I posted here, because it's like, Miss Rome's advice had nothing to do with gender identity. Try a light rhythmic knock. Leave a handwritten note. Try to earn every vote. Just these things that we teach people when they're learning to canvass. So apparently it paid off.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. It's just like the rep in New York. She was outspent, outmanned. She went door to door, talking about her program, and everything else. And that's why she is now the nominee for representation in New York. So yeah, it isn't. It doesn't have to be identity politics. It just has to be personal. And in some respects, and I think that's important. And I wish her the best of luck. I hope she wins. That'd be great. The first transgender woman or man elected to a statewide office. That would be a monumental shift.
Yeah, maybe we can, eventually get some into Congress and, ooh, I screwed up our stream. It's okay. Get our, but if we can get our actual, EEOC change to add transgender folks, that could be a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah. And finally, and this one was posted on Facebook by 9/12 by September, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull this one up while I have the moment, because for whatever reason it doesn't, unless I copy and paste. Because
I saw that image and I thought of you immediately. I was like, that's the kind of protesting Daniel would be doing.
So basically, it's this was in. This was, I want to, in the Philippines, which is interesting in its own right. But a bunch of Filipino Christians went to a pride parade and basically marched with signs saying, "I'm sorry, God loves you, and so are we." And I'm sorry, and we're sorry that we were wrong, and hiding behind. And the big sign that you'll see, and I'll post this one especially in the comment section or in the description section of YouTube and everything, is like, "I'm sorry for hiding behind religion when really I was just scared."
Yeah, I like the really specific big giant banner where they're admitting, specific things like that. I mean, that's really stand-up thing to do.
Yeah, and to show up at that, and more Christians need to do that. More Christians need to go up and say, "Hey, I am sorry that my faith and my religion did this to you. I am so sorry that this happened. I'm sorry. There must be we're being attacked, and our dog, and the dog is letting us know that aliens have landed in the front yard." So
apparently,
it's a pug, and pugs are barky,
noisy, barky.
But what's really cute, especially about this pug, she is the most adorable, because when she barks, what she does is what she does is she barks, and she will she'll hop a little when she barks, and it's hilarious. So
okay, boing.
Yeah, it's a little hop, like letting us know. So, all right. So let me put this back there. Okay. All right. So, anything else you want to talk about?
No. We should probably tell them what's coming. Hopefully next week, or do we not want to? Because we need to make sure our guest is going to show up.
We are going to do this racism thing, even if it kills us. It will happen eventually. We're going to try to do the racism thing. If it doesn't, I'm going to have a separate thing set up for us, so that we will have a show next week. It will probably be back on our normal time, but we'll keep you up to date with Facebook, Twitter, things like that. So we'll be doing that. Once again, you can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch. We have Patreon, which is kind of the most important thing right now. If you could help us out on Patreon, that'd be great, so I can get a website, so I can start putting our notes up on the website and stuff. That would be wonderful, because websites are expensive with the amount of stuff that we do. And anything else happening?
If you do come and watch us live, I do post the notes in our chat.
Yes. She does.
Well, the links. So.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to leave us? All right. We need to go and save Jaina from her mother. So.
I think I'm going to go to the gym first. I'll work on Azeroth later.
Like, I saw that and I'm like, no, you can't do that to her. She is the greatest of all of the Azerothian heroes. Why she has been through so much? Why are you doing this to Jaina?
Hey, she accepted punishment. She did a bad thing. So
I know she did, yeah, but you know what? She also watched most of her friends die thanks to the Horde. Boy, they have really made the Horde out to be evil, haven't they? At this point,
some of them.
Bane hasn't said. I'm sorry. Well, that's a geek thing. We'll move on from that. But I'm just like, Bane hasn't said anything, and that's one of the things when good people don't do anything. That's when bad happens. But anyways, so this has been Heresy and Hearsay, and we hope that you'll see us again next week, and you have a great day.
Bless your heart. Okay, so that's that.
All right, if you'll send it to me, we'll be good.
As soon as it gets,
rendered, I know.
Where it is.